good, y'all? We are back. Donovan Mitchell is a Cleveland Cavalier. Not words that I thought I would have been saying even just earlier this week with all the reports that we've been seeing. But Cleveland swooped in last second and got Donovan Mitchell, man. Leave a like, subscribe if you are new. And I was talking to a friend yesterday, and he asked me, what do I think is going to happen with Donovan Mitchell? And I said, I don't think he's going to get traded before the season, but I do think he'll get traded at some point, before the trade deadline. And little do I know, it's around like 3:30 today. I'm laying in my bed. I'm about to take a midday nap, and I get the Woj notification that Donovan Mitchell's going to Cleveland. I'm like, oh shoot! And it took some minutes for like the whole details of the trade to come out. It took like maybe 5 minutes, but I'm scrambling trying to get it posted to my page and stuff. And then I see the package, and I'm like, that's not a bad. That's not bad for Cleveland, like what they gave up. I don't think it's going to be that detrimental to them in their core. And I think for the Jazz, I think they got exactly what they wanted. We'll get into their side of the deal and what I think it means for that rebuild. But Cleveland, they gave up Lauri Markkanen, who was pretty cool for them last year, playing, I guess, small forward for them. Majority of the season was very solid, man, very solid. Colin Sexton, who ended up being a part of a sign and trade to Utah. He got 4 years, I think, $72 million. Cleveland didn't really want to pay him. They were very reluctant to do that. We've seen that throughout the course of this offseason. He went and got his bag. Happy for him. And then they also gave up Ochai Agbaji, who was their rookie lottery pick, who looked pretty cool in Summer League. But you gave up three dudes that, one, you played most of last season without in Colin Sexton. And the team looked pretty cool for the majority of the season until everybody else started getting hurt around the core. You also give up Lauri Markkanen, who I said was solid for them last year, playing a new role. He was pretty good, but if you get Donovan Mitchell in return, it's worth giving up. And Ochai Agbaji, he looked good in Summer League, but he's a rookie, and it's you don't know what to really expect from him. You don't really know exactly what you're gonna get from a rookie first round late lottery pick. So I don't think it's a bad package. And they gave up three first round picks and 2 unprotected picks, which I said this multiple times this offseason. I said it with the Atlanta Hawks trade. I said it when the Celtics went and got Malcolm Brogdon. And I probably said it another time too. But I think picks are very overrated when you're trying to vault yourself into the next stage of your ascension. Trying to become at least a contending team or a team that's trying to get to contention, which Cleveland is trying to do. And so you're giving up 3 picks. I think it's like 20, 25, 27, and 29. So those are down the road, and your young core is intact. Darius Garland's going to be here for a long time. Evan Mobley, who's just going into year 2, is probably going to be here for a long time. Jared Allen, I think, still has 4 years left on his deal. Donovan Mitchell has 3 years left on his deal. I think he's like 25, 26 years old. So your core is going to be there. And I just named off that 4-man core. That is probably one of the best 4-man cores, especially in their age range in the NBA. I'm not ranking them right now, but they're just name wise and talent wise, that is one of the best 4-man cores that a team could have right now. And people might look at it like, well, they might be lacking a little bit of depth. I don't think so. I think once they get to like when the basketball is really gonna matter, you still got Karis LeVert, whether he will be starting or off the bench, who knows? I think Isaac Okoro has another step to take. Just really want to see him become like a good league average shooter. I think that would really help his game out so much because he was somebody that was left open more than I think anybody in the league last year. So that's another step to his game that could potentially be made this year, man. You still got Kevin Love, too. They picked up, I think, Robin Lopez for some depth in the offseason. You still got Cedi Osman. There's still players on this roster that are, decent basketball players. Ricky Rubio will be back at some point. So they've made moves, man. Like, they still have guys that can come off their bench and give quality minutes. But you upgraded the position that was in need the most of, and that was another shot creator, another creator next to Darius Garland. Obviously Colin Sexton was that, but this, like I said earlier, this is a higher level Colin Sexton even. Even though you might look at them having 2 small guards, it's like, that's kind of iffy. Those are 2 6'1" on a good day guards, but when you got guys behind them like Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, who are, as a defensive tandem in the front court, there's not very many better that I would say in the league. You can maybe get away with it a little bit of having 2 smaller guards. Hopefully Donovan Mitchell can get back to what he was kind of known for in college, which was being a good, pesky defensive guard. But once he got to Utah, that kind of went away because he was asked to do so much offensively. So it kind of makes sense. We see that from a lot of guys who might be okay defenders in college or even good defenders in college, but once their offensive responsibilities in the league are at such a high level, they're not really trying to put that much effort on the defensive side. So hopefully Donovan Mitchell can at least tap into just some effort on the defensive side. I think that can go a long way for the Cavaliers going into next season. But man, you get an all-star shooting guard who's had big-time playoff games before, has dropped 50 in the playoffs, I think, multiple times. Has played big-time, playoff series, has been the number one option on a perennial playoff team his entire career. So that's not something that you can just add any day. And for the simple fact that you didn't have to give up Jared Allen, obviously you're not giving up Garland or Evan Mobley, but you still keep Jared Allen. That is big. Like, that keeps the core intact, man. And, Colin Sexton, there was probably going to, I don't want to say it, but there might have been a little bit of just weird vibes, like just bad vibes, because he wanted his payday. The Cavs clearly weren't going to give it to him. So even if he came back on a qualifying offer, it might have not been the type of energy that you need, the type of synergy that you need in the locker room, which goes a long way, man. It really does go a long way. And a team that just lacked shot creation, especially down the stretch last year, when we got to the, play-in tournament, they lacked that shot creation outside of Darius Garland, and they needed it. They tried the Karis LeVert route. He just wasn't great. He was on and off the court, so could never really find his way. They, even brought in guys like Rondo just to get some extra ball handling. None of that really worked. Like, it was bad. Like, none of that really worked. So you get Donovan Mitchell, who was a proven 25-point per game scorer. Like, he's been averaging 25 points, I think, for the last 3 or 4 seasons. He's a proven guy. And you add this to a core that showed that they were a playoff team. They were a top 4 or 5 seed for most of the year until they got hurt, until injuries started really hitting them bad. So, to add Donovan Mitchell, man, it makes you wonder what the ceiling on this team is, not just for the future, but I think this season as well. It's been a minute since I've just done a sit-down video by myself, so I've been taking a little breaks in between to get my thinking together. But I really love this trade for Cleveland. Where does it put them in the pecking order of the Eastern Conference? I don't know, because the East is so good, and everybody seemed to have gotten better this offseason, maybe with the exception of Miami. But it seemed like everybody got better this offseason. The Bucks, just getting Chris Middleton back is a plus. The Celtics got better, even though Gallinari is probably going to miss a decent amount of time. And then, Philly got better. I still think Miami's still really good. Teams got better. Atlanta tried to get better. I feel like the Cavs are somewhere in that realm. Brooklyn's going to be back, whether you think. I'm interested to see Brooklyn nonetheless. I still think it can be really good, depending on if guys are healthy and just what, positions. That's a story for another video. But the East is so good. So I'm happy to see a team like the Cavs, who were on the outside looking in and not just saying, hey, we're going to be healthy next year and that's going to get us into the playoffs. No, they went out and they got better. They made a move to get themselves better. Kobe Altman has done a sensational job as general manager, because just a couple years ago, man, this was like a 19-win team, I think. Like, not too long ago, they were winning 19 games. And slowly but surely, they got better. I think they won 43-ish games last year, or 44. And they were a win away from getting into the postseason. It's just injuries happen. You had to go against the Brooklyn Nets in the play-in, which is tough. And then, Trae Young is one of those guys that can win a game. He's that good. So, tough, man. But I like it for Cleveland. I really do. A team that I already watched a lot last year, I will be watching a lot more. Like, they're going to be up there, probably just right behind the Celtics, because I don't miss many Celtics games, if any. So, yeah, I'm going to be watching a lot of Cavs basketball again. I might have to catch a game this year, man. I wanted to last year, but I think this year I'm going to drive up to Cleveland to go get a game, man. It's not that far. And I've never been to Cleveland, so. And Darius Garland's one of my guys, man. Y'all know that. But Utah, I think Utah, they're doing exactly what they want. They have 15 first-round picks over the next 7 drafts. Danny Ainge is a sicko. He loves his picks. He's doing it even worse than it was in Boston. And I'm intrigued to see this rebuild, man. And there's still moves to be made. Bogdanovich is still on the team. Jordan Clarkson, Mike Conley. I was looking at the list. They got other guys that could be potential trade pieces too. Like, maybe they don't want to keep Jared Vanderbilt. Maybe they move on from him too. Malik Beasley's still there. They already traded Patrick Beverly away. Utah's going to be terrible. They're probably not going to be watchable. But they're going to have a lot of picks. They're going to be really bad, so they're going to have a chance to get a top 3 pick this year. Danny Ainge is about to do some. He's about to do some things in Utah, man. About to do some things with this Jazz team, and I'm just happy to see they picked a direction, like a true direction, because for as long as I can remember, I've been watching basketball since 2009. I've never seen the Utah Jazz just be a pathetic basketball team, like just terrible. They've had years where like they missed the playoffs, but they were like a 9 seed or something like that, where they win like 38 games or something like that, and they would get like a 12, 13, 14 pick. They might have had one year, I think, where they won like 27 games or something like that, or 25. But other than that, they've never just been garbage, like terrible. They're going to be bad for a few years now, most likely. They're going to be bad for some time, which is good because you got all those first-round picks. And Danny Ainge is a pretty solid drafter. And I'm sure that's why they gave Will Hardy a long 5-year contract, because they're like, we're going to be bad for a while. Going to be bad for a while. And they didn't just pick a direction by trading one of their 2 All-Stars. They traded both of them. And I love to see it, man. I did want to pull this up, though. Hold on a second. So, of course, I mentioned earlier, like, the Knicks were the one team that was, like, we all thought Donovan Mitchell was going to go to. Well, there was talks earlier this week that trade negotiations had resumed. And then Woj just tweeted this about 30 minutes ago. It says, at the start of trade talks in July, New York offered Utah a Donovan Mitchell package, including R.J. Barrett, Obi Toppin, Mitchell Robinson, and 3 unprotected first-round picks. That's what they offered. That's what they offered, man. And they just gave R.J. an extension earlier this week. They offered this trade package, man, for Donovan Mitchell. That's a lot. I mean, I think R.J. has all-star type talent, still super young. Mitchell Robinson is a very solid starting center in the league. And I think Obi Toppin, he showed a lot of flashes, especially at the end of last season. Like, still a very good young player. So, for the fact that New York was not only willing to give that up, but Utah declined it, I think tells me exactly what the front office is thinking is they don't really want any good established players. Like, they don't want anybody that's going to even push the needle a little bit. And I think that's why they were kind of hesitant, or maybe it was the looming cloud of, well, what's KD gonna get when he gets traded. Maybe it was that too, I don't know, but I think it more so shows like their direction is, we don't really want we don't want that much talent in return. We just want to be bad. Like, we want to be bad. Yeah, we'll take Colin Sexton, sure. Colin Sexton can go ahead and be a 25 point per game scorer. He's not gonna move the needle that much. I think that's what their thinking is, and I don't hate it. It's a true direction. And we'll see, like, this is something that we're going to have to revisit down the line for their side of things. And also for Cleveland's side of things, because there could be questions, like, how much does Donovan Mitchell raise their ceiling? I don't know. Like, is it exponential? Like, are they all of a sudden, like, going to be walking in the next season as a favorite in the East? I don't know. I don't think so. On paper, no. They look a lot better, but they maybe go from a playing team to a certified playoff team for sure, no matter if a guy misses time or not. I think that's how it looks right now. But it's a cool thing about trades like this where superstars involved. You kind of got to wait a few years to see how everything materializes. So, yeah, Donovan Mitchell is a Cleveland Cavalier, man. Him and Darius Garland, that's going to be a fun-ass backcourt. And then their front court's already been, fun to watch. Just a great team overall. Still some questions, but I like the idea. I love the shakeup. Everybody loves a big-time trade. And I'm probably the last YouTuber to make a video on this. But those are my thoughts, kind of a little all over the place. I'm still trying to process it for sure. But the Eastern Conference continues to get a lot better. So I'm excited for the year.